Happy Sunday. It's wine on
Pew,
an empty
pew, pew.
stomach day.
Man, is this our first book club of the year?
This is our first book club of the year.
I say this like I'm not half of this duo. Yeah, well, happy history of our book club. We're having anniversaries this month, so I want to talk about this, but we'll get into that later. But yeah, happy Black History Month. Happy Sunday. Happy Brunch Book Club. That's
First
new.
brunch book club.
Yeah.
Sorry, Nikki, I'm sending you a message.
My audio is going in and out?
Yeah,
Oh.
I don't know why.
Interesting.
Well, now it's not. Okay,
Technical.
moving on.
It happens. It's because we're not used to brunch hours.
Yeah, we're not used to brunch hours. This is our first 11 a.m. wine on an empty stomach. And that is because we have a very special guest
Boop, boop,
across the
boop.
pond.
Across the pond.
Today we're talking Sinophagia, a celebration of Chinese horror. And with us is Xueting C, who is the translator, editor, compiler of the stories. And we'll add her to the stage now.
And she's also an author.
Yes. Hi.
Hi,
Hi,
Tanya and
welcome.
Nikki. Thank you for making this a morning live stream for you
No worries.
due to the time difference. I appreciate it.
Oh,
No
I'm
problem.
not complaining.
Yes, I made a
Just think
mimosa.
We can do this earlier.
Oh, that looks so good.
Yeah,
Cheers.
it's actually helping everything. It's that kind of day.
So, Sinophagia, please tell
What
us.
does that mean?
What does Sinophagia mean?
Well, it's kind of a word that my editor and I made up from Sino, meaning Chinese, following on from the first book in the anthology series, Synopticon. And then phagia is from the Greek roots of phagia as in to devour. We thought it sounded nice and creepy in a sort of undefined way, like horror can be. So Sinophagia it is.
I like it. I like it.
Oh, thank you.
I actually came across this book in the library. I don't remember. I think I was just looking for whatever was available. And I saw a celebration of Chinese horror. And I was like, I know nothing about Chinese horror. Sign me up. And then I
really
and then I
glad.
started reading it.
Yeah, and then Tanya kept telling me, Nikki. I was like, I mean, yeah, of course, I'm totally going to read it. And I think more in the last 2 years than the other, I guess, 5 years of Wine on an Empty Stomach, we've been really leaning into horror, or the horror part of the speculative fiction umbrella, because we do like scary stuff.
Yeah.
And I think I prefer to read it than to watch it sometimes.
Yeah. And I purposely seek out horror from other cultures because I like to know what scares other people.
Exactly.
You are like the ideal readers. That's perfect. Venture to expand your horizons, and that's one of the aims of the book, to introduce Chinese horror, the tradition, to the regional tradition, to the world, and the Chinese senses of horror as well, which is quite unique and different, but has universalities as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope you resonated with some of it and enjoyed it, and you were terrified in a good way.
Yes, in a good way.
I have a question. If you could think of, like, I know we're going to talk about these 3 stories, but if you could think of, let's say, 3 things that just like in Chinese culture, be like, okay, if I saw that, then I know that this is going to be a scary thing. Like for me, I'm trying to think like the guy, well, I'm not going to talk about the guy with a hook. We don't give him airplay.
Oh.
If it's what I'm thinking, I really like that film.
Brother.
For me, maybe it is the crossing of boundaries of a being that maybe isn't supposed to be there. Like there's a living, and there's a world of the living, and there's a world of the dead. The Chinese, for them, the spirits are quite a normal part of life, but then if one of them strays into the world in between or in the living world, that make themselves appear, maybe there is something wrong there, something that's strange about the world. That's scary. And I think maybe to do with the mind, the second thing would be like, in the sense of the Gothic, like, can this character trust their senses, what they're feeling, what they're thinking, or maybe that's quite scary. A third one, I think there's a lot of social horror. So if I see the social element, that could be a good source of horror.
Oh man, the whole thing about not being able to trust your mind, that that scares me because I'm crazy already. It's just like you walk around, and I don't know I don't know if we decided like if there's an order of the stories, but not knowing if what you're seeing is real, or seeing something and having other people downplay it, like, come on, that's just in your head. Like, that terrifies me.
Yeah, that's like universal scary, I think.
Yeah, me too. I think I'd be very disturbed by that. I'd be, kind of feel quite, trapped by that sense. And one of your favorites, Death of Nala, is very much has that ending towards the end where she, it becomes something very visceral, kind of family relationship horror, to kind of something psychological, to that long tradition of trapped women. Like she's trapped in her head, and then she is also trapped by other, like, society or people around her. And
let's talk about
place.
Yeah, let's talk about Death of Nala first, since you mentioned it.
I was wondering, and let's do that.
Yeah, we hadn't decided on an order.
And I was just like, I felt nausea start to rise. It's just, oh man.
So in Death of Nala, Peter says you don't have to say hi during the interview. Just scratch your nose as a hello.
No, we love saying hi to you, Peter.
Death of Nala is a very scary story to me, in that it's not supernatural scary. It's real life scary. And it begs the question, what do you do when your child is a psychopath? Which is such a scary, it's like there's so many things with scary children, right? And they're always like, demon possessed or things like that. But in this story, it's just a little boy who's just not a nice kid.
Undiagnosed something.
Yeah, an undiagnosed something. So in the story, just a real quick rundown. This woman is trying to figure out what's up with her son. He killed their cat, Nala, and she's getting more and more upset about it. He's manipulating her by pretending to be sad and, doing things. And then towards the end of the story, you realize it wasn't a cat at all. It was her daughter. And that's where, for me, it was like a mental breakdown. Alert. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, we warned people which stories were spoiling.
Yeah, we did.
We did. Death of Nala. What made you add that one to this? Because the others, I think, had a lot more supernatural elements, and this one stood out to me.
That's a very interesting and great question, because 故事, as you've probably read her story already if you're third way through Sinopticon, she's a sci-fi writer. Mm-hmm. But one of the things I like to do as a curator is to tempt authors when I can see the potential of their work in other genres than their main one. So in this case, I read a short story of 故事, which is about AI, and it's like a horror short story, and I thought it was great. And she sent me this one too, and then I immediately wanted it as soon as I read it. And and I think another element is that it's this kind of the child and the pet. A few years after I selected the story, I read somewhere that the most popular pet name for a cat is Nala. And I thought, I'm traumatized a lot of people. So, make them want to throw the book out the window. And, in kind of make it stay with them when they read the last story.
Boy, does it, because I listened, I've read it a couple times and I listened to the audiobook twice, and kind of like a night of
Oh
the
wow.
night. I am horrified every single time. And I remember, like, in the audiobook, they have your commentary afterwards in the book too, like your commentary about it. And you were saying something similar. It's like whether when you were reading and editing and all this stuff, like you experienced the same like gut-wrenching terror and just I don't know, like most comprehensive disgust that I can feel like reading something. That moment where he just takes Nala, who you think is a cat, and then realizes a baby and flings her from the 13th floor balcony. Like I screamed. I screamed every time I read it.
And I mean, it's amazing. It's incredible. You went through it twice. I
Oh yeah.
mean, and then another time, twice on the audio, and then another one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean,
Um,
we like to immerse ourselves. We like to be immersive because Tanya will read it, she'll tell me to read it, then we'll both read it, and then we'll read again for book club. And if there's an audiobook, we can read with our ears while we're doing other things. And it was last night I listened to it, and again this morning, and that's kind of what it was like. Oh shit, get off the couch! You got a stream in the morning and not in the afternoon. And yeah,
yeah. Wow. So you really get into the stories and
Yeah.
sort of dissect them in a way. Well, Gusha is really fantastic at pacing. I think she gets the pacing exactly right. Right. So the
yeah,
very important in horror, and it's how the story is told as well, as you say. When you go through the process of the story, you get scared again. And the social element, from the social side of her story, she and I are both part of one of the earliest generations of only children that this story deals with, and both our parents' generations were kind of young enough to have another child when the policy changed in 2013.
hmm
It began to change and gradually became um, wider and wider, um, more and more encouraging towards more children. But then some people did, some people didn't. And how did the children respond to that? How did the
you're
parents respond to
just
that?
in case
That's
somebody
very
doesn't know, you're
interesting.
talking about the policy where where each family could only have one child.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. It was implemented in 1979 as a biopolicy for population control, and then in 2013 it started to change.
hmm
Yeah. So you could have like a second child if you were from different regions in China, and then you could all have different. Everybody can have second child, and
Yeah,
etc. It gradually changed.
that lends itself to its own kind of horror. I
Yeah, biopolitics is definitely seems to be a source of horror in a lot of science fiction, particularly women written. I mean, kind of women-centric science fiction and female writers.
mhm. I think the other thing it's what I enjoyed about this story is that what's the son shoot what's the son's name, because she doesn't act the name of it the son doesn't actually come up until later, which I really appreciated. But from the very beginning I'm like, there's something wrong with this fucking kid. Like I don't trust him. There is just something. And she's like, oh, he likes to break his toys, and I'm like, I gotta keep an eye on this guy. um and everything that he does is performative, and I think that there's enough, I guess, pop culture psychology awareness to know that when kids start to behave in this way, serial killer culture, as far as like true crime goes, people start to like, oh wait, that's that thing. Is he burning the wings off of like flies and pulling ants' legs apart? And this kid fits that profile. But I think when it's a kid that's like 8 or 9 years old, you're like, okay, well, this kid is smart. But to see it in someone so young is even more terrifying. Like he gets the game, he understands how to be manipulative. And you see that with like, Tanya, you have little kids, my sisters have little kids. And when they start to figure out, like, ooh, if I do this, I can get that. But at that level of like psychological manipulation as like a 5-year old, No,
It's
you drown that one in
scary.
the well.
I think
Yeah,
the other horrific element about it to me is the way the mother is treated. You know, she has a very understandable breakdown, a very understandable mental breakdown. And yet her husband and her doctor are almost telling her to get over it. You know, they're like, it's the past, it's done, it's over, you know? And then she's like locked
absolutely.
away. And I think that itself is a little bit horrific.
Absolutely, that's very much there. I mean, that's why she's so trapped, um, because when she has broken out of that mental trap of her memory of being unable to face the horrible truth, and then she's then physically trapped by you know the patriarchy as it elements of the patriarchy who are around her that they would rather assign her to a place. Like we get a lot in like gothic fiction, whether it's classical, the classics, or the more modern ones. Yellow wallpaper,
I
woman
was
in
thinking
white,
of
and
yellow wallpaper when you said
Yeah.
that.
You gotta do
later things, and then the way that they would rather send her away than face the fact that perhaps the father being away could have put so much pressure on the mother who is already
that.
struggling as it is with one child, and then to have a second one, and you know and one of the reasons why the little boy is like this, I mean, because the mother is kind of seems to be at the end of a tether, and she kind
Oh
of
my gosh.
is almost like going, oh please don't just behave. and and she's not really kind of like, she doesn't seem to be kind of uh, teaching him to doing what she can to teach him to be better, because
It's
she's
I was gonna say,
so
it seems like she's beyond that, you know? Um, from she like, oh, that's why, because she does the name doesn't come up till later, but she's always like, my treasure, my treasure, my treasure. I always feel like she's like,
yeah.
it's like almost through gritted teeth, like she's doing her best.
Yeah, she's
Not
just doing. She has too much on. She has got too much pressure, and she doesn't have the space or the environment she needs to in order to put that discipline in, or like
yeah.
the
At
yeah.
that age, you really need the support of both parents or whoever else is in the house, like whoever else is part of your village, to be like, no, you're not going to do that. Like I would think about my sister, uh, whatever, Jackie. I think about her with her kid and how much support she had. Like when she came home, like my parents were there, my sister was there, my brother I guess he was at home too, and it's like everybody's like, don't open the fridge without asking. If everybody's saying that, then you're on board. But if it's like, oh, it's just mom and now maybe dad's here sometimes, but I know she's gonna give me what I want anyway if I act terrible enough. Uh, that's
You know,
hard. Hey, AK.
it didn't occur to me
It
until
takes
now
a
that
village.
it didn't occur to me until now that part of the reason why the story resonated with me so much is because my husband also travels for
Mhm.
work. And once his paternity leave was up, I was left alone with two babies and having to manage everything that comes with that, with getting the older one settled and comfortable with the smaller one, just dealing with a newborn baby, which is its own type of horror.
And working.
And working, So
And
yeah, I
working.
guess I mean my older one has not shown any signs that he may kill the younger one. So
Only when he steals his toys, but I feel like
yeah.
that.
So we're holding on to that hope. But yeah, I think in a way that it resonated with me in that sense, but also because with my firstborn, I suffered from postpartum depression. And it's not something that I knew a lot about until I was in it.
Mm,
And it is a feeling, part of it is not trusting your own senses. And like we said, like not knowing when you can trust what your own senses is its own type of horror. And then when you just layer all of these things together, it's like my stomach was churning when I was reading
mhm.
it.
That's very
Even
interesting.
when I was
That's not
thinking it
heard
was
of.
a cat, like
Yeah.
even thinking it was a cat, something about it just still seemed really, really wrong, like more wrong than it should have been. I mean, it's already wrong to kill a cat, but like not knowing where it was going, in a way, it was like my body knew what really happened.
Yeah, yeah. I think we should have a whole other stream about this. Maybe do find a book that is about postpartum depression because
Or
a lot of
postpartum
women,
psychosis.
right? And like people think, oh, it's just like the woman gets really sad after she has a baby and she doesn't want to take care of it. But I've had friends it's like they talked about like they find it difficult to even connect with the baby. You know, like
Mhm.
there's a separation. I know I'm supposed to love it, but I kind of just don't. You know, and there's all these things that come with it. Of course, like they love their baby, but like there's this like disconnect, like, oh, I'm a mother now, or how am I going to manage all of this stuff? I don't know what to do, you know? And so I can't imagine having all of those extra things, plus everything you need to do, and the sense of how can I
Mhm.
trust myself, plus a psychopath.
That's,
Right.
that's a great point. There's a lot of taboos surrounding motherhood, especially parenthood, particularly motherhood. The mother is supposed to always love the child to bits, and they can't really voice any other things that they
Yeah.
might be feeling. And as you said before, it also gets people with pets as well.
I'm looking at
They
my
can
cat sleeping right now. That's
right.
why I had to get up. She was like crossing. I was like, oh God, she's gonna get on the stream. So I had to like go tend to her. Um, I once upon a time, a long time ago, I had a cat. R.I.P. Sydney, she was the best. And she was like crying for something one night, and a terrible person that I lived with got up and took her and was like shaking her to try to get her to stop and like pushed her against a wall. And I was like, yo, what the like it's a kitten. You can't do that. You can't
Yeah,
do
it
that.
cries.
Dude, so crazy. So like these things are like coming through my mind and just, not everybody's an animal person. I have a friend who's like animals belong on my feet or on my plate. And I get that. It's not Tanya, but it's another friend. And but she still respects the life of animals. And
Yeah.
it's just it doesn't matter that, like you say, you're basically saying, Tanya, it's like it doesn't matter that it's not a human baby in the beginning. It matters that it's something that's vulnerable that you're supposed to want to protect.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a creature. Exactly.
Which is
Yeah,
interesting,
you
but
wouldn't
given
want
what
to
we
touch
just said, right? Like the instinct to want to protect and then having like something like postpartum where you're like, I know I'm supposed to, but yeah.
Yeah.
Very interesting. Yeah, I'd be interested to know if there's any other horror works dealing with this.
Yeah, I
Mm.
think usually when you think of motherhood and horror, it's like the mothers who killed their children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only one that comes to mind, and that was actually, hello, Brooklyn, that comes to mind, and we're actually doing it for Mother's Day, is The Good Son. With
Yes.
Macaulay Culkin, Elijah Wood, and I feel bad because I can't remember the woman actress's name. I was just excited to see a movie with kids. Can you hear those sirens really bad?
Ooh,
Yeah.
I thought it was a creepy wind.
Oh no, I live
I
in Brooklyn and at a busy intersection, and I don't know what's going on. But she has this kid, her biological son, and then she brings in another kid. I can't remember if she's fostering, maybe to adopt, but the other kid is so jealous and he hates him, and he's kind of like luring him off to places, and then he starts to take it out on his mother. And I think that what makes that story so scary is similar to here. There's no supernatural elements of it. It's not like, oh, he was possessed by the devil or he went into a cave and he came out and nobody knows what's wrong with him. He was trapped in a box for 16 hours. Like I should write
That's
a
so
little story.
specific.
But nothing that's so traumatizing to like cause this break. He didn't hit his head and was suddenly a different person. This kid was born that way.
You know what?
Yeah, yeah.
Another good, well, it's not finished and I don't know if it's coming back, but The Changeling. That's a horror series based off of a novel, and it's a mother who, kills her child because she doesn't believe it's her child. And it's a question of, was it really a changeling? Is that a real thing, or
Mhm.
is she
Mhm.
just has she just lost it? So yeah, there's a lot of mom horror out there. But this one stood
Yeah.
out in this particular series. It stood out to me because of the lack of the supernatural and the fact that it was still so scary. That was like my biggest thing with it, was like there wasn't even any ghosts. Like this kid was just horrifying.
It's like crazy to have like a kid who's like that, and then a mother who has like who's toxically empathetic. You know, like she's like,
Yeah.
she's like, oh, the doctor is going to do this. My husband, I can hear on the phone that he feels guilty, and she wants him to feel like concerned. I'm not saying that he's not, but she goes out of her way to be so understanding of everybody else at the expense of like what her actual feelings are in reality. Like it's okay to not feel a connection or to dislike your child who, put a plastic bag over your baby's head and then threw it off the balcony.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, yeah. It's one of those. Of course, yeah, definitely. But then it's one of those taboos of our society. We're not allowed to talk about these children. They're all innocent and lovely. Especially in China,
otherwise,
children are all innocent and lovely. They're not otherwise. And regarding not having the supernatural, that's totally very present in Chinese horror, because the supernatural are not intrinsically scary. They're part of the cycle of life. The Chinese know that the spirits live around them. It's only when the vengeful ones turn up that's scary. So you could totally have the supernatural is not necessarily scary for them, but then in horror they are scary. They are like another one you might want to talk about.
Immortal Beauty.
Stories.
Well, you said vengeful spirit, so which made me think of Immortal Beauty, because we have a vengeful spirit in that. And I love
exactly.
Ghost Brides in particular. I don't know what it is. Something about Ghost Brides just like lures me in.
Nothing but blackened teeth.
Yes, Nothing But Blackened Teeth. Where the Ghost Brides gather. It's another one that I've read recently. Where the Dead Brides gather, rather, it's called.
Right. So, yeah, I went to the launch for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Nuzo's a friend of mine.
Oh, tell Nuzo I enjoyed the story.
Tell
me. Okay, I will. I will. I'm sure she'll love to come on your show if you haven't had it already.
I actually just finished reading it for the second time, like 2 weeks ago, because I was just thinking about Dead Brides after I read Immortal Beauty.
You must have liked it then.
Mm-hmm. Yes. In Immortal Beauty, we have a woman who is a first wife, right? She was a first wife, and then her husband gets other wives.
Yeah.
And it deals with her aging and what she feels is her fading beauty as this other woman comes in with more beauty. She finds love in the brother, of her husband, and he even betrays her. And in the end, she dies for his crimes, but her vengeful ghost comes back. Let's talk about Immortal Beauty and this vengeful ghost. I like vengeful ghosts, as long as they're not after me.
Yeah, me too. I really like them as an element of horror stories from all different cultures. Yeah, so this is this traditional noble family setup of a very unfair situation where the man is polygamous, but not the woman. So the man can take several wives, but the women, they all have to just have one husband, and they kind of live in harmony. But actually, it's interesting that she actually, this protagonist, she actually loves her husband.
Yeah.
And which isn't always the case. Sometimes arranged marriage is a loveless marriage, but then he kind of expectedly, typically he kind of moves on to another younger woman, and then she's kind of stuck in the marriage because divorces didn't really exist during the dynastic times.
Yeah,
right.
And then to me, she's actually, I think she was sexually assaulted she was very frustrated in her own way as well. But she was kind of sexually assaulted by the brother-in-law.
Yeah.
and ends up, being blamed for that, because of course traditionally, in traditional Chinese morality, the chastity is always the responsibility of the woman,
Right.
Mhm.
not and then she's then, yeah, is also paying for his murder as well.
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
So it's
She was a very
terrible.
sympathetic she was a very sympathetic, vengeful ghost.
Yeah, I think.
I wanted her to get her revenge.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's
Oh,
like they start
yeah,
out in the
I'm glad.
story where where her lord husband's mother is like, if that's a girl, they're getting married. So if this her entire life, she's had this expectation that she's going to marry this man, and like all the romantic notions that come with that, um, and then to experience this whole, like a true loving match. Like he took care of her, and then one day he just kind of gets bored, and something that I think that and I think it happens a lot. Like I'm watching this anime series called Ooku, and it's about a harem, right? And the point is, like, we need to have an heir. We need to have an heir. So it's not that just he gets two wives. He takes seven wives and is still not able to have a baby, and they're blaming it on all the women,
Because of
as one
course.
does.
So it's
Oh,
like
there's a
it's
question for
cursed.
you, Xueting. I'll post it. Was Bao I don't know how to pronounce that, sorry. Bao Jiaogui and the cat connected. I know both like to cry like a baby for attention.
Oh.
Bajok. Um, so this is about death of Nala.
Mhm.
I In that case, I think that story isn't really related to supernatural. But I do know which one you're talking about. There is a type of ghost that cries like a baby to lure the
Mhm.
unsuspecting people, so they can prey upon them. Um, but Death of Nala, though, it's more of a
Well,
social horror, and oh, or the cat, yeah. Okay. Um, there's a whole range of Chinese monsters that are, like nine-headed birds, or poisonous eagles, um, pythons, and things like that. They cry like babies to lure people,
Mhm.
and there's fantastic fantasies about them as well. But for Nala, I think the cat was just primarily a cat.
Mhm.
Um, it was a live, feline creature, and you know, um, was it tragically killed. Um, that's a very interesting angle I haven't thought of.
I'm gonna drop this link in the chat because I googled, and the illustration of this monster like made me jump. It was a jump scare. So shout out to whoever computer generated that shit. Um, it is.
Oh, can you show
Uh,
it on the screen? What does it look like?
um, let's see. Maybe Tanya, can you give me sharing position? Can I share my?
you should have
Yeah,
permission.
cool. Hold on. Here, you have to add it to the stage.
Ooh.
Yeah, creepy, creepy, creepy. I don't want to see this
Oh,
person.
okay, right, quite. Yeah, it's very typical kind of Asian horror image, where what you don't show is as scary as what is shown, kind of,
Hmm.
and the hair as well. It's
Yeah,
very
it makes me think
typical.
of The Ring.
Long hair.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So Immortal Beauty, she does get her vengeance. One of the things that was a really small thing to me that was heartbreaking was the way she felt when her husband was brushing the other woman's hair.
Hmm. Yeah.
I found that to be so heartbreaking that,
Hmm.
it was like he wasn't doing that for her.
It's such an intimate gesture.
It is,
Yeah.
right?
It's
It
like
It
Daenerys
is.
has.
taking the bells out of Khal Drogo's hair and like
Right.
combing, right?
And then in
That's
turn she uses her
interesting.
hair to murder.
So, like yeah. So hair is. I guess there are similarities. It seems like in your cultures as well. Hair in East Asian culture, it's very sensual. Um,
Mhm.
and then the part of the traditional courtship is, getting a hairpin, gifting the a loved one with a hairpin, or brushing their hair, painting their eyebrows. That's another kind of romantic traditional gesture. Um,
That
and
was
then
what I
she later she paints her own eyebrows
yeah.
in the
Yeah.
story.
I
So
love that. That's not a thing that I would have like. I don't know that I would trust someone who's not a esthetician or cosmetician
no,
to draw on my eyebrows. But having that be the thing, like I'm gonna paint your eyebrows on, and him doing such a good job, like that never came into like my sphere of romantic things to do.
that's kind of an odd thing that people don't do anymore, but I guess we're more aware of it now because in Chinese dramas it's come back. They've done their period research in these historical fantasies, and you see the male character painting the female character's eyebrows, and that's where it came from, a traditional form of romantic courtship between, well, not courtship, but like between married couples, or like couples are already between lovers.
Yeah.
But it is very odd because, I mean, maybe in the old days, they're gentlemen. They were supposed to know their calligraphy, painting, and their
Mhm.
chess and their music, so they could all paint. Otherwise, I
Right.
wouldn't trust you know
Yeah.
a man to paint my eyebrows. And they could make a
I'm glad you bring that up
real
because that
mess
was
of
the
it.
thing that came to mind for me. I was like, oh, the calligraphy, like the skill that someone already has with a brush from years of practice and having to make these beautiful figures with a brush. Like I can't imagine writing with a brush.
No.
It'd be a mess. I would love to try. Ooh, maybe we should do a class.
I would do a calligraphy class.
That's
I like
fun.
art.
Yeah.
My older son did a calligraphy class at the Met. They were going through I think like the ancient Chinese section of the Met,
Hmm.
and they had like was it Chinese? They had the huge brushes. So it was
Yeah, that's
like
what I'm talking about.
yeah, it was like the like brushes like this big, and they showed him how to draw with them. And so he made like his own piece with the giant brush on the with the paper on the floor, and like it was a whole thing. Um
Oh, that sounds so fun.
yeah, he really likes it. Yeah. Um Immortal Beauty. What else do we
It,
want to say about Immortal Beauty?
Hold on one second. I'm gonna mute because sirens, and also
Okay.
I'm gonna turn this off.
I'm sorry.
so, so yeah, I wanted to maybe talk about going to traditional horror, because that's a story that reinterprets the most popular kind of ghost story in
Mhm.
Chinese literature, Painted Skin, and everybody in China knows about that story. Whenever we talk about horror, people think of that. The demon with the painted skin who pretends to be a human and then has to renew their human skin by painting it, and that seems so timeless because people are still doing reinterpretations of it.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And this one is really interesting in that, some adaptations in some novels, films, TV series have done an update, and some of them have done different stories, like a queer version. Recently, we've had, and then we've had a kind of a cyberpunk one with the demon being a robot with a human skin and all sorts of things. And this one in particular, I think it's quite a feminist, then maybe post-human adaptation, because it takes the woman's point of view and then the non-human point of view.
Yeah. I liked having it from her point of view because not often do you get to be on the side of the vengeful spirit.
Yeah.
Usually you want to protect the
Yeah,
person who's being attacked by the vengeful spirit. But in this case, it's like, no, 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 I get it.
She's justified.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, I can rationalize why it's
Yeah.
okay. Why it's okay. And thank you, absorbing and being in other people's skin, Tanya. You've done it again.
I know. So I have this ongoing replacement fear. I don't know what it is. I'm afraid of reincarnation, and I'm afraid of like being replaced, like coming home and seeing somebody who looks like me and is pretending to be me, and everyone thinks it's me, but I know it's not. Like, I don't know why it comes up in
Oh,
everything I read, everything we watch. Somehow it always comes back to this replacement idea, or this
interesting.
person and this thing in human skin that isn't a human.
Mm.
And
Mhm.
everybody believes it, and that it's not it.
I have so many ideas, and like you said that, and I was like, I would do this, and I would do this, and I would do that, and I would do that. I'm like, you know what? Bye. I'm going to go somewhere, and you seem like you got that. I'll come back, and I'll figure out how to kill you. But like until then, I'm gonna go be a free
Yeah, there
spirit.
seems to be something uncanny about this thing that is pretending to be human, or like another version of yourself, and then it's, it's like but not like.
Mm,
And yeah, replacement fear, that's very understandable.
yeah, and
I
thinking
have
about the same
actually
thing about like not like the uncanniness. I'm thinking about like AI generated images, not images for, yes, but like when it's video and you see the movements that are happening, and you just like in here, you just feel that something is not real. And I one time tried to generate an image of myself based on an image that I uploaded. It looked fucking terrible. It was so bad that I didn't want to show anybody, but I had to show Tanya and AK because I was embarrassed by how bad it came out. But there's a bit of a disconnect even when you're like, we watch these live streams back and just being like, okay, look at me, this is what I did. But to see it from the outside in real time.
I have run into a doppelganger once, and it was the
Mm.
creepiest experience I've ever had.
Mm.
We both had our hair the same. We both were wearing the same color glasses, and we were wearing the same color coat, and we were passing each other on the street, and we both like looked at each other and kept going. And I just remember thinking, am I dead? Like, that was the
Mm.
first thing that came to mind was, am I dead? I was so creeped out. I don't ever want to experience that again, to like see my own face coming towards me.
Yeah, that's crazy. I've had people send me pictures, or like I've had recently, or I guess in the last couple of years, somebody texted me like, "Hey, where are you?" And I'd just been thinking about that person. Like, are you on the F train? I was like, I just got off the F train. They're like, are you doing? I'm like, what do you? This person apparently looked so much like me that this woman who has known me for years thought it was me. And I was like, oh no. And all the coincidences lined up. She's like, did you just get off at the stop? And I'm like, no, I'm already here. It was weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So seeing that person.
Cool. I'd be interested to know what you think of Tina, then the other story. And I have another novella coming out this year, that's from Asimov magazine. I'll send you a link when it comes out, because that's
Yes, Tina.
kind of
How do you?
about
Sorry, go ahead.
Tina. It's
Tina.
Tina, yeah. And that deals with neural doppelgangers,
Yes, the
um,
clones.
the clones, yeah. And I'd be interested to know what you think about it. I mean, autonomy seems to be something that we're really
Mm,
concerned about in this day and age of everything's so connected, or supposed to be so connected. Like,
Now that you mentioned
um,
Tina, I actually do wish I had brought that one up to. Did you get to read that one, Nikki?
no, I didn't get a chance.
Basically, people make clones, and they do jobs and things like that. I guess they're kind of enslaved in a way, right? And
yeah,
but they look exactly like the people. So it'd be like your Nikki clone, but she stays and cleans up after your cat and does all the things and walks behind you carrying your groceries. And it
Not
was
one.
no, but these
that's
ones were
quite.
so creepy. These ones were so creepy. And then the question becomes, how do I know that I'm real?
Mm-hmm. Shoot, what was that? Was that Rick and Morty? No. Yeah. What's the show we were talking about? Like Rick and Morty, where like Beth is a clone.
Oh,
Oh,
right.
X-Men.
Ah, yes,
X-Men
Jean.
97, right? Like, oh, who is the real Jean? And come to find out that the real Jean has been living somewhere else this whole time. And now, new Jean wants old Jean's life. And,
Right.
and Scott Cyclops is like, but I loved old Jean, but I've been living with new Jean. So who do I really love? Ugh,
Right. Yeah. And in Teenong, it's like, am I a clone or am I really me? And if I'm really me, what does that mean? Because if I have my memories, then I'm me, right?
yeah.
But was there another me that I was a clone of?
Man, I wish I could remember what I just read that was somewhere along those lines. Maybe it's in my Goodreads, but
I was gonna say that that would give me nightmares. And speaking of nightmares, our other story.
all right, queen of the segues today.
I am on it. The Waking Dream was the third story we wanted to talk about.
That one scared me almost the most.
That's one of the
Seems
first ones. And
to be a favorite, that one, with many creators.
Yeah. In this story, there's a woman, and she in the from the very beginning, she's sitting in a meeting at work, and she's not really paying it. I mean, it's not that she's paying attention. She's listening, but she doesn't want to look at her boss, who's the one speaking, because there's some creature behind him. As soon as that you said the thing about the legs, I was like, oh my god, I can't do a spider
can't
for
do
the
it.
rest of the story. But she describes it, and it's not. And she goes around seeing all these other monsters attached to people. It'd be like Monsters Inc., but like the
But they're
nightmare.
scary.
You
Yeah.
know, like
And
everybody's
oh,
got a
nice.
buddy, and that's what it turns out that it is like she's seeing everybody's biggest fears walking behind them and being attached to them,
Ugh,
and
I got
nobody else can
chills.
see them.
I think the other nightmare in that story is the idea of working for 12 hours being normal, just like
Yeah,
putting your
that's a nightmare.
subconscious to work while you
It's
sleep. That's
terrible.
its own other nightmare.
Yeah, and I think that's an important aspect of the story too, right? Like
Hmm.
in this let's say in this country, people work for 12 hours. They basically found a way to do virtual working online, right? So instead of like doing like this, they're sending their consciousness up to do the job while their body sleeps, and then when they're done with their shift, their body can go around and do like what it wants. But you know, you ever wake up from a dream when you're like a literal fever dream, and you're just like, where am I? And am I really awake? And then maybe you wake up and you actually were still dreaming. Like I had that happen to me recently. And to not, for all she knows, the uploaded consciousness world could be the reality.
Oh, it's like Severance
I
on Apple
haven't seen
TV.
Severance yet.
It's not a
Is that the novel Severance?
I don't know if it's a
Um,
novel. I've only seen the show.
Let's
It
see.
very well maybe, I'm not sure. But they have a implant into their brain so that when they go to work, they have no memories of their life outside of work. They're just like their work self. And
oh
then
God.
as they leave the building, the chip switches or whatever, and now they have no memory of what they do at work all day. And so they
Mm,
essentially live in two worlds at all times. There's your work self and your outside of work self, and they have no memories of each other.
yeah, I think one of the things that scared me well, now that you're saying that is scary about it is that they do maintain consciousness, but there's no like downtime. They're working constantly. They're focused constantly. It's not like, okay, I like just had that meeting. Let me scroll through my phone for 5 minutes. No, their consciousness is committed to the job.
Yeah, they're plugged in. There's no downtime. Like we, the psychology, popular psychology, you tell us we need to have the REM dream time in order for our brains to process what we've experienced and to take a proper rest, and to have that happen during your work time, as your
Right.
work, as part of your work, would mean that it puts so much strain on your mind, brain, consciousness.
Because when do you sleep?
It's so relatable everywhere. Yeah, when do you sleep exactly? If you
Yeah.
work in your sleep, then you'd be awake. Like
Yeah.
the protagonist, she's awake for a few hours, and then she's kind of like doesn't, apart from eating her meal and being in front of a TV, she doesn't really has no energy for anything. And
Yeah. Yeah.
then,
You're right. She literally does not sleep. Her consciousness is online all the time. Try staying up for 36 hours or 48 hours or, just any of that. and having to be busy the whole time, you start to get loopy. You know, some people start to get cranky and tired. Some people lose their filter. Some people just like, I remember one time I was so tired because I did like, I don't know how many days in a row I hadn't slept because I was so busy. I was editing. I had, you know, Tanya, you remember this version of my life, that I was so tired. I went to a gig and it was a trio. It was a drummer, a vocalist, a drummer, vocalist, and an upright bass. And I'm like watching them play, and suddenly the upright bass player was holding a cactus, and I was like one of my first hallucinations that I
Mm.
remember, and I was just like, "Yo, he's playing a cactus," and in that moment, I was like, "You have to take an Uber home from Harlem
Go get some
you have to
sleep.
go to sleep
Those are
because
the flags.
it was so crazy, so crazy. Question my sanity.
Yeah, I've
Yes, it's very relatable, that story, whether you are you have to overwork from time to time, or you're in these like corporate jobs that are so demanding, and the whole
Hmm.
industry is like that, and there's a tacit kind of um, consent to this kind of
Right.
working, as it happened in China and a lot of other countries as well, where the tech industry, the big data industries expect you to work, um, 9 to 9, or 7 hours, 7 to 12, seven to
Yeah,
seven.
there's a sense of pride
Um,
in it almost. It's in the legal world too. There's a sense
Yeah.
of pride in it. I've had days where I worked
oh,
9
really?
a.m. to 3 a.m. and then got right back up and was at work at 9 a.m. again, all the way to
Hmm.
3 a.m. until the thing got done. And when you're in it, it's like, yeah, I was
Yeah.
working 9 to 3. Like they sleep, we grind. And it's like, wait, no, no, no. I
Exactly.
want some sleep. Like, what
I
am I
want some
doing with
sleep.
myself?
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had some late nights recently, and
So
I
interesting.
I get done. I'm like, yeah, that thing is done, and then I wonder why I'm tired for the rest of the week. You
Right.
know, everybody. I like to say the thing is everybody in New York is tired, and so when people tell me like, oh, I've been doing this, I've been doing that, I'm like, sometimes you don't have a choice because rent is expensive, and I know you got to hustle, but nobody cares that you're tired because everybody's tired. Everybody has to do whatever it takes, and I can't imagine just like with all the things that I have going on, plus like health stuff, having kids and doing, just no. I don't know that I would wake. I would sign up for one of those clones, bro.
The Tinan
I'm like,
clone.
just let me sleep.
She said she do part of the
See,
work.
the thing with the
Taghead.
Tinan clones is that you don't know if you're the clone or not. That's what freaks me out.
I wonder if I would.
Yeah.
You know, read
Um,
Tinan, Nikki. Like
Hmm?
when we get off, go read it
yeah.
like right away.
Yeah. I hope you enjoy it.
I
Um,
I'm
yeah,
sure.
it just seems to be we our worlds are tending. Part of what makes it such a strain daily is that everybody is tired. Everybody has so much to do.
Hmm.
Um, and what if the author, who is very private about her real name and her real job, because it probably is related to these, and I totally respect that, but it's very interesting and brave for her to write this story, but she kind of takes it into a more heightened sense, extrapolated sense, takes it into the metaverse, and I think our kind of media is going that way. Certainly, it is in China, where they have metaverse conventions, and you know, like these metaverse. A lot of metaverse in the fantasy kind of people have a gamified alternate dimension,
Hmm.
and they have the story there, and they go back and forth. And yeah, so what if this, uh, as Nikki, you were saying, you saw that the musician was playing the cactus. What if you were inside your consciousness? What would you see? If you're overexhausted, would you be seeing that, or maybe something that's your worst nightmare, like
I
uh,
wouldn't survive.
the
If it was my
spider
worst
or
nightmare,
something?
I wouldn't survive because my oh man, I will talk about, I'll just talk about. So one of the worst nightmares I've ever had when I was little, I used to dream like dinosaurs were like coming down the street, and you could hear the ground shaking, And I used to get my family out. Sometimes the portal out was like flushing them down the toilet or getting in the washing machine and spinning the cycle on, and then we'd be transported somewhere else. So when Jurassic Park came out, I was watching one of my nightmares on the screen. But more than that,
Oh,
it's spiders. It's like tarantulas. I was having such nightmares my entire life um, about this, and it'd be like really mundane. I'd be in a house. I was in a house with Diana Ross and Webster, and there were these glowing orbs on the floor, as like a kind of like a ramshackle, rundown space, and we were like, "Oh, look at this! It's so beautiful!" And then they started hatching, and it was tarantulas. Like the legs were coming out. We left
Oh,
the house. There was like, a big one, the mother coming to claim her babies. Like every dream like that, I had to call the army. We had to get the nukes. There was no other way to destroy it. And
wow.
like I grew
It's
up.
very sci-fi.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that story, like all of my dreams were like that around it. And, I just can't. And if somebody else could see that, that's the interesting about thing about her too, is when she becomes aware that she's seeing people's worst biggest fears, like that must feel like a bit of an invasion of privacy. Like now I know too much about you.
hmm there's
Yeah, yeah.
there's also a conspiracy element to the story
Mm-hmm.
because people are locked in this unconscious state for 12 hours and things are happening around them, possibly dangerous things, house fires, things like that. What happens when the system malfunctions?
Exactly. The manager of the heroine, that's what happens to him, right?
Hmm
And and the what makes it so scary is that she can't tell, nobody can see apart from her, and she can't act like she's shocked or surprised or scared
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
she's not sure what they are, or like she might get in trouble if with the system if she tells somebody or she reacts.
Yeah.
Right.
And she's seeing these most private, intimate fears of these people, and she can't say anything. And they
Yeah.
don't know. They don't know it's behind them. They don't know
Ugh,
it's.
And
that
they,
just made me want to look behind myself.
yeah, and then she finds out through her homie that like other people are seeing this, and he asked her, he's like, are you seeing it? She's like, what? She's like, no. He's like, okay, good, because if you were, they would be coming for you. And I can't imagine having to deal with that.
Yeah, I think that's the other scary part of it is if she tells anybody what's going to happen to her because that revelation could upend the entire economy if people stop working
Mm-hmm.
in their people stop sending their subconscious to work and we can no longer get these 12-hour shifts out of everybody. That's going to turn the entire economy upside down. So how at what length are they willing to go to make sure that nobody knows that these systems may malfunction?
Mm-hmm.
And would you sign up for it if you knew that it could malfunction? Would you
Yeah.
sign up to work
No,
subconsciously for 12 hours?
no, I don't even want to
No,
write.
No. There is no
it's,
job that I would
it's
want to
such a
do.
bad idea.
Yeah.
And yet, we seem to see so many bad ideas happening despite sci fi, like using AI to not do some useful things, but to create, to
Yeah.
save money, and that just is a bad idea.
Yeah.
It's not produced very good works.
Yeah. 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 No,
Uh,
I don't want. I mean, I had a job interview once for a remote position where they wanted me to install a camera software on my laptop.
Hard no.
Exactly. And like they were ready to like hire me on the spot. And she was like, but just so you know, there is the software we want you to download, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh no, 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 I'm not comfortable with that. And I was like, I am so sorry.
oh,
I was like, that's not happening.
that's creepy.
Yeah, it was very creepy. And it was something that I would have been well suited for. But the minute she started telling me about the software I would have to download so that they could, the excuse was that they have to make sure I am working alone because I'm dealing with sensitive material. But I think that you should just trust me.
Yeah. If we got
Delay
into
for
the point that you
privacy.
want to hire me, then you've seen something that says I not only can I get the work done, but I can do it understanding the privacy level, because I did pass the bar.
You
I
know,
did become a
I
lawyer.
had to do all the ethics. He said, scary thing is that software is already installed.
It's
I
just
actually
It's
bought
very
a
true.
separate actually bought a separate laptop just for work so that
yeah.
whenever I have to install software for work, it's only on that computer and not with any of my personal things. I
Hmm.
just bought like a little $300 Asus that is work only. I'll download all your crap, but not the camera software. That I refuse to download.
And
So no, I would not
That's wise.
upload my yeah, I would not upload my subconscious to go to work for me
It's
because
the
what
kind
could
of
you do with that?
like the dream of the corporations, but on worst nightmare.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
the author has. I've talked to the author about it on the panel for a book club, and we all very much look forward to a sequel if there is one. So, and she is thinking about writing a sequel
Oh, I would
because
love
we
that.
all want to know what happens, after the rehabilitation. And she's very wisely, the protagonist, not kind of confiding in anybody about these monsters she's seeing, and
Yeah.
like, what will she do? Will she become part of the resistance of the
Ah,
the best of the people with the abilities, or will she be, I don't know, what will happen to her,
I
and
would love a
what will she
sequel.
do?
I would absolutely love to see where this goes. Can I
Thank
ask you
you.
a question about translating?
Sure.
One of the things I've always wondered about because I've read, translated works and um I always feel like you can't fully understand something if you're not reading it in the original language and with like the original idioms. And it's the idioms that I always
Mm.
wonder about. What do you do when you come up with an idiom and you have to translate it? Because translating things literally, like sometimes isn't going to make sense. Like if I say, I'm there's more than one way to skin a cat, and you translate that, they're going to be like, what is she talking about? Why is she skinning cats? You know,
Mm.
or kill two birds with one stone. It's like, what is she, a psycho killer? Like, what are you talking about here?
The
How do
poison
you get around?
ivy.
How do you get around idioms from other cultures, translating them to another language?
Yeah, that's very interesting. Also, is an interesting and challenging part of the translating. Of course, it can never be done literally, um, and there are several approaches I can take. I think what I would adopt is a flexibility, whatever is suitable for that situation. Sometimes I can find in so what I tend to do is um, maybe be creative with the second language, like the language I'm translating into, to
Hmm.
maybe create something new
Mhm.
that, like a new metaphor that would also work in English. Um, I might need to say it differently from the Chinese because these idioms, they often have like an anecdote, or they
Mm.
have like a particular metaphor, and these kind of things are very cultural and specific to each culture, and so
Right,
direct translations will not work
right.
very hardly, yeah, in that case. So it could be something close to the original idiom, or something different, but maybe created, um, maybe wouldn't normally be said in that way, but would make sense and maybe make people do something different with the language, and maybe make readers feel or think something unique, new. That's
Mm.
how I usually would do that.
I think it's also I mean, there are books like Gabriel Garcia Marquez is one of my favorite authors, and he's a Colombian writer. The original text is in Spanish. My Spanish is not good enough. I mean, I wouldn't even say that I could begin to read the book. I'd be like, okay, that's five context clues, and then I would be lost. But I think that being able to translate is one aspect of it, but it also shows like how beautiful your writing is, because you could just be like, oh, okay, line by line, this is what it is, but there's such a flourish. Like, I hear the author and the story that they're telling, but I also, your writing stands out to me too, and
Thank
it's just
you.
so lush. It just yeah.
I I do need to kind of I'm really happy you like the writing, because whilst it's translating, it is my own words. The book is my own
Exactly.
words. Um, and I do need to kind of detach. I do have my kind of nonfiction cultural writing voice, and I have fiction, have a lot of different genres that I feel an affinity with, because I read widely. I like all sorts of things, but then there are pieces that may not feel so natural with. So I need to detach that from my own voice. When I translate a piece, it's every time I translate a different piece.
Right.
So I would kind of marinate myself in a piece of English writing, Anglophone literature that I feel could work with um, this translation, could work in the English version of this, for this story. So, for example, Immortal Beauty, before I translated it, I I found that reading classical translations of classical Japanese ghost stories, that really gave me the feel for this story,
Oh,
gave me the voice for this story. And then with whereas um, with A Waking Dream was more straightforward, sci-fi voice, a sci-fi thriller voice.
hmm
And then what else?
The Death of Nala.
The, yeah, so the Death of Nala, I think, went for something like a combination of. I mean, I don't suppose for that piece I needed to explore a lot because I felt very kind of attuned to it.
hmm
Um, because it is a female writer, and um, so maybe and very intimate first person.
Right.
Um, so kind of went for the the tones of kind of psychological horror. Um, some of the modern ones. Oh, and so sometimes it's a film rather than a book. So like Tina, for example, I took a lot of inspiration from Get Out, the film.
Mm.
Um, so the kind of the sense of the marooning in the village, the kind of village horror, folk horror element of that,
Right.
um, was, and the experiments was very much the tone. Yeah, so Death of Nala was kind of more modern psychological horror. So yeah, every piece is different. Um, from what I now, I what I just worked on a piece of kind of cyberpunk science fiction, and I read something like William Gibson's stuff for that, and
Yeah. Yeah.
now I'm marinating in the fifth season, which I'm really enjoying. Aside from marinating, and I think it will be good for the next piece I'm translating, which is um, a science fiction by kind of very ecological kind of science fiction by an
Mm.
older female writer. I think that that would find me. I mean, that would help me find the voice for that book, for that story.
The fifth season is a. I mean, besides the geological aspects of it, I think that it's an a really interesting choice in that when I started reading that, and I've had somebody, shout out to Nick, hit me up, who just, we got him into the books, who just started reading it, is that N.K. Jemison's style of writing in that book is so different than everything else that I'm used to. Her voice from the very beginning, I was like, I knew that I was reading something different. Like, not that all authors sound the same, but she has a very, very specific style.
Mhm.
And I think part of it, it like she gives you a lot of information, but you don't feel like you're being force fed. But she also puts you on
Mm.
edge. Like from the very beginning of that story of the fifth season, I'm like, something like you're telling me something's not right, but I think it goes way deeper than what I know. And I'm curious, and these things that you're telling, the things that you're, that you're just casually mentioning in the narration, I'm like, okay, well, I know this is speculative fiction, but what is that? And why is that okay? And yeah, just her the way she puts sentences together is unlike anything I've ever seen. And so to use that as an inspiration for translating makes me really excited to see how that comes out.
Thank you. I think partly why she what that makes it so shocking is that she puts it casually, like the very shocking elements. Um, so there is the marinating, there is finding a voice, and then there is uh, I kind of I can feel it when there's the author's own voice in through myself as a medium, with all my insights and experiences, and then there's a voice for the story itself, and
Mhm.
I can feel it when I find it because I
Mm,
feel a buzzing kind of here, and I feel like it's ready to come out, and I'm kind of distracted from other things until I put it down, and I hone it with this voice, and it's kind of like a magic of sorts.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
If
is
I get it right.
alchemy.
it is. And as someone who is
Alchemy.
not a writer, yes, it absolutely is just witchcraft.
Uh, yeah, translate is I love that interesting because we when we were meeting with you, Tanya was talking about watching shows with audio on and captions that
With
are
like the
transcribing
dubbing.
translations, like with the
Yeah.
dubbing shows, right? So, like with anime, I enjoy doing it because I like comparing what they ended up translating the script to versus what they made the captions. And it's not always the same. Sometimes you're getting more information on the bottom than you are from actually what's being shown on screen. Sometimes it's a reverse. And I always wonder how who decides that? Who decides that? Because you do have to make a condensed version to fit in a caption and to keep the pacing up with what's
Right.
being shown.
That's very true. Yeah, there's a skill in the subtitling. There's a skill in subtitling. I've I worked on one documentary before of Chinese indie music, where yeah, it's incredible how much there is in every second of the text. Yeah, it's certainly an art to fit something onto the screen and convey the whole meaning. And it's tricky when it's maybe something historical or something
Mhm.
AU because there's so much you need to explain.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of art in that. Yeah, I hope the subtitles were good in whatever you were watching because it does make a
Usually.
difference.
Oh, this reminds me, Tanya, remember, I don't know if we were hanging out that much back then, but do you remember when I was going to be a stenographer? Oh, okay. So this predates our friendship.
This predates our
This
relationship.
predates our relationship. So once upon a time, I met somebody like through a gig, and they were talking. I don't know how we ended up talking about this, but they were saying like, "Oh, I know someone who's doing a stenography course. It's a good way to make money. You can do it professionally. You can do it from like being in a courtroom to like being the one who types the captions at like live sports events." And so I went to several stenography classes, and they're like, "Oh no, you don't type, you write." And the way that the letters are grouped is very different. It's not at all intuitive, but it was fascinating because somebody would start to talk, and now you have to make executive decisions about, okay, they said maroon, but maybe it makes more sense to say dark red here, or like substituting those words. Fascinating. I wanted to get I forgot what the name of the machine is, a stenography machine. But yeah, I can't imagine having to make those decisions live. And I do like watching captions live, especially for especially for sports.
I suppose it could be entertaining.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. I
Well,
mean, it certainly takes a lot of preparation to do interpreting. Depends on what your guest is, what they are speaking about, and research into the industry, and also getting used to their way of speech and tones and everything like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, I imagine there's so much that goes into translating because I even think about like little phrases that people in my family say in Jamaican patois that
Mm.
what my husband is like, what does that mean? And I'm like, I have no idea how to translate that because
Right.
like it's some things can be so specifically cultural that
Mhm.
how do you make it make sense to somebody who doesn't have those same elements of whatever it is in their own culture, you know?
Sometimes maybe you just need to, if there's a unique concept, you just need to put that you just need to say the word in Jamaican. Perhaps there's no
Yeah.
other there's no replacement for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
I had to do that
then
with something that I wrote for work recently about soca and about soca music, and I was like, "Yo, I don't know how else to say." Like, I had to say, "I'm gonna bustle wine," because I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to wind my ways to this music," and that's not what I would say. And it's in italic, so you know it's something else. But yeah, I'm trying to think of things that I know that don't translate, but I
I
think of
have
idioms who would like idioms like so the South has a lot of stuff like that, right? Like Lord will and the creek don't rise. Shout out to Mitra. Don't borrow trouble. Da 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 da. Like all of these things that if I had to translate them into a different language, some like if I think about doing it in German, sometimes that would work, but not always.
do you mean south of the
North
South of
America,
US?
of
US.
the US, yeah. There are a
Oh,
lot of colorful
interesting.
phrases
So
down there.
English patois of the
Mhm.
hmm,
Yeah, like
hmm.
I'm St. Lucia, and my mom's St. Lucia, and there are things that they say. Uh, St. Lucia is interesting because the British and the French own it went back and forth several times, and so
Oh,
their
oh.
patois is
Hmm.
English and French based, where other countries has like more one language than the other.
No, you
Yeah.
must have lots of interesting like ways of saying things, and that could be an appeal of its own.
Hmm.
If you were making a piece of fiction about that region or characters from the region, that could be
Absolutely.
an appeal. Um, I mean, I'm so glad. I'm very lucky to be translating in these times when kind of writers of other cultures like Rebecca Roanhorse and Nuzo, she's also done it as well. They just put the word in
Hmm.
the text and then explain it in the text, or then they just have a glossary or a little
Right.
footnote, and people, and it's accepted now. And whereas
Yeah.
like 10 years ago, maybe 20 years ago, it's people would be like, what? No, we want this in English.
Yeah,
So,
I had just read this House Will Feed, which is like a Irish Gothic horror, and I was like struggling through like because they have all these words in Gaelic. And I'm like looking at them, looking at them. I'd go online, figure out how to pronounce them, only to find out there was a glossary at the end, which I didn't expect for like this format
oh,
of novel, right? Because how often do you see that? And I was like, oh, okay, because she had it spelled out phonetically. And while I was able to gather stuff from the context clues, there were um, in her like refining definition, I realized that there were things that I missed there, like that applied specifically to the book that I wasn't necessarily finding in the definitions I was looking up online.
yeah, yeah. Always look at the back of the book. Maybe it's there. It's very, very possible to be there. But I find it helpful, very helpful, because sometimes it would make sense when you read it and you look it up, and then sometimes I'd forget, and
Right,
then check it again
right.
when
And
it
I
comes
think
up again.
that's sage advice. Always look at the back of the book. Maybe there needs to be something in the front of the book. It's like there's a glossary in the back. Go
And
check that out.
for the record, I know that there are some people, they've mentioned some issues with the editing of Sinophagia, and there's no glossary. This is because I either put a footnote
Yeah.
or I explain it in the text.
Mhm.
And this was a big book as it is. I think my publisher would have had you know, a breakdown if I added more pages to this book. So there's
I
no
definitely
glossary. I'd love to do
appreciated the
one.
footnotes.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
appreciated the
I'm
footnotes.
glad you like them.
In the
So
audiobook, they read them. I was like wondering what would happen if they would just kind of breeze over it. But in the audiobook, they do read the footnotes, which I
Oh,
found
that's
super
cool. I
helpful.
haven't listened to the audiobook yet. Maybe I'll put that on.
Hmm.
Oh,
But
so it intercepts the story and reads them and
Yep.
then goes back to the story.
Yep, it does.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And it's like I appreciate the way they did that because that's how I would read. Look, I'm seeing, oh, there's a little asterisk. Or, oh, look down there. Okay. And then I go back to the story and it really helped with my understanding.
Yeah.
But you're definitely the more thoughtful readers who would read the book. And in case
We're
people
very
don't,
thorough.
you have 1,001 eyes.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
man.
before we go, 2 questions. What are you reading and what do you have coming up?
Ooh, can we do a boon and a curse too?
Oh, and yeah, so 3 things, and then we'll do a boon and a curse. But first, what are you reading? Second, what do you have coming up? And then we'll explain boon and a curse.
Okay, right. So, what am I reading? I'm reading the 5th season, which I'm really enjoying. And I've just started. Let's see. If the Dead Belong Here, an indigenous
My
horror.
goodness.
Oh, is it? Do you approve? Do you
Oh
like
no,
it?
I'm adding it to my Goodreads right now, so I don't
Oh,
forget.
right. Okay. I was
Yeah.
sent this by a publisher, so I mean, whom I've told I like indigenous horror. I'm really enjoying it so far. I've just started it. Can't wait to read more of it. And then in terms of, I'm also reading a Chinese novel, a martial arts fantasy novel, which is the novel from where the Mysterious Lotus Case book, the TV series, is adapted from. It's like a detective martial arts historical fiction. So yeah, that's 3 things I'm reading at the moment. And I always struggle with reading for pleasure and reading for my research because I usually
Oh yeah.
read a lot of essays and articles and things like that, books for my like writing and research, and I savor every moment I can get to read a chapter or 2 of my pleasure reading.
Yeah. I understand that. When I was in school, I didn't read very much for pleasure. It was really hard because you're like reading all these books. Uh
I'm
oh,
sorry, somebody's asking what is the title of the martial arts story?
The title of it's the Mysterious Lotus Case book.
I'll drop
It's
it.
not been translated into English. The TV series is available
Oh,
on one of the streaming platforms with English subtitles,
oh, interesting.
and which you can watch. I'm hoping that
That is right
someone
up
will
AK's
commission
alley.
it. I've written about it briefly. I would appreciate more opportunities to write articles about it, and possibly because the author is one of the major female martial arts fantasy writers of contemporary times.
Mm-hmm. I love this.
And I'm always trying to promote their work. That's been a big part of my research, because the genre is has been very male dominated up till the last few decades, no,
Yeah,
20, 30 years. So I, yeah, I'm hoping to be able to turn it into English. Yeah.
it's very exciting. I'm gonna watch it too. Oh, man. Yeah.
I think you might like it because there are horror elements to it too.
Yeah.
It's like a detective story, but also there is like the gothic elements.
Yeah. I like anything. I like anything fantasy. I have a really hard time watching things based in, in reality. And it's not that I need there to be a supernatural element. I just don't want it to feel like anything that I'm living already.
Yeah, I mean, genre fiction is just so much more exciting.
Mm-hmm.
So much more people can do with it.
Yeah. So what do you have coming up or coming out?
So I have a book called The Sound of Sparrows, Mahjong Illustrated. which I've written with my editor. It's a kind of a guide to the game of mahjong, the tile game. I don't know if you or any of your friends play. There's all sorts of different versions. I mean, the US have their own versions of this game.
Really? I did not know.
Yeah. It's primarily kind of created by Jewish women and their kind of social circle, the communities that they had playing the games and in the 20th century. And then I think a lot of diaspora are now also playing this game and maybe creating their own versions.
Mm-hmm.
There was a
They have it at
mahjong.
Comic-Con,
I was
like
just
every
about to
year.
say that
Yeah.
at Comic-Con they have mahjong like lessons.
I'm going next year because
Oh, do they?
it's always at
Yeah.
it's always at the same time as a panel that I want to see, and I'm like, okay, it's happening. But this year I'm going because I
Yeah,
find
they
it very
do.
interesting.
They have it's like all day mahjong lessons.
Yeah, I used to play it on my
how
computer
interesting.
back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great thing. And so you can play with the computer and or with other people.
Mhm.
You
Yeah.
don't necessarily need 4 people.
Yeah, they
So-
have people come in and then they set up a few tables and they teach you how to play.
Yeah,
That's amazing to have it at Comic Con. I've never been able to get tickets for Comic Con, but it's
You got to
great
go as a
know.
panelist.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I need to get ourselves
Who do you talk to about
invited.
getting someone on a Comic-Con panel because you
I
belong
don't
there?
know. Yeah, you absolutely
Oh,
belong.
thank you.
And then
Tell
you
your
do a
publisher to
panel.
get to work.
Yes. Go as a panelist and
okay.
then just
I'll have to
go
do it
all
myself.
4 days and have a
Mhm.
blast and then come hang out with us and we'll
Yeah.
all have a good time.
Cosplay, buy a bottle of wine, put it in Capri Sun things, and walk around.
Yeah.
That sounds
Sorry.
awesome. I'd really like that. I'd really like that. I'll see what can be done about the actually going there. If I'm
Yeah.
ever in New York, I'm definitely going to reach out to you.
We will
Or
be
at
happy to
Comic-Con.
host you.
Yes, absolutely. My children are revving up, so I'm going to ask you. Our last thing.
Yes, so sorry. The other book that should be coming out this year, although I'm not sure when, is China Plus 100, which is a book of speculative fiction anthology on imagining China in 100 years' time from the pandemic.
Oh, that's
briefly.
interesting. Okay.
Yeah,
so
it
all
should
things
be.
to look out for. The last thing we do, we call it a boon and a curse. You make a wish, your wish gets granted by us, but we grant it with a curse.
Magic always comes at a price.
Right. Okay.
So what is your wish?
What is my wish? Okay.
It can be anything.
Big or small?
Is it something that I know that you can grant me?
Oh, we can grant you whatever you want. There
Anything-
are anything,
no limitations.
possibly
We
dream
will
of.
grant it.
Okay. Do I tell you or not?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
tell you. Okay. So I wish to find the best home for my martial arts fantasy nonfiction.
Ooh.
Could you
Yeah.
So,
could you help me?
okay.
Wish granted. However,
Wish granted. You will find this home for your martial arts fantasy. However, you will also be placed into your martial arts fantasy world and have to join in the fighting.
Ooh. Can I be a scholar? Can I be a because I can't fight to defend my life.
that is the curse.
I'm not sporty. I'm not okay.
All right. You will find a home for your martial arts fantasy. But whenever you go to write something about it, like if you try to use like a pen or a pencil, the tip always breaks, the marker runs out, the pen dries out, and when you try to type it, the backspace key is always stuck.
Ooh,
Yeah.
diabolical.
Yeah.
Wow.
You're gonna have to dictate it into a tape recorder.
That would plague me every day. If the backspace gets sticky. It does that. When it does that, it's
Yeah.
truly a daily bother.
No progress.
But I get to find a good home for it though.
Yeah,
Yes.
you do
Right.
find a good home for it.
And then I just tell my publishers, I'm sorry, but the backgrounds keep on getting stuck. So you have to extend the deadline. You put the deadline back
And don't forget, you'll also be fighting.
Yep.
while I'm writing it.
So it's two fights.
I hope it's a world where you can reincarnate because I'll be dead. I'll be dead. I'll be killed.
No one else has ever asked for reincarnation as a boon. Interesting. I'll keep that one even in the May.
What other wishes have you been asked out of interest?
Oh,
I know we're running out of time.
Let's see. I can't think of any. I don't hear your goblins, by the way, Tanya. If they're
Oh, you don't hear them?
Not at all.
They're in their room.
Oh,
I'm just like
yeah.
listening to them.
Yeah, no.
Dad left, so I'm on my own now.
No.
Remember any boons that people have asked?
I think one of my favorite ones was when Wale Talabi joined us, and his wish was like world peace, all cultures being able to come together and agree on everything. And I said, I granted it.
So lovely.
I granted it, but the curse was if you eat food outside of your own culture, it'll only taste like food from your culture, no matter what you try. Even if you try cooking it, everything you make from another culture is only going to taste like food from your culture. And if you try to eat food from other culture, you'll have allergic reactions. So you can't cook it and you can't eat it. You can only eat the food from your own culture. That's the curse.
I don't remember what.
And I thought that was he said that was a pretty harsh curse.
It is a really harsh curse. At least make it spit. I mean, there's variety there at least. At least you didn't say like everything's gonna taste like a hot dog.
Oof, that'd be a tough one.
Ugh.
That would be a nightmare.
Let's see.
I love all kinds of different foods. The joy of eating is the taste.
Yeah, right.
Exactly.
The different tastes.
Oh, so there.
Sacrifice for world peace.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. I should have asked for something. Something more.
If you want, you can give us a boon and a curse. If you would like to grant us a curse.
What's your wish, Nikki?
I don't have one yet. Since
Okay.
I just did that, let me think.
You really don't hear them?
No, not at all. Your noise
Wow.
cancellation is impressive.
Top notch. There is actual screaming happening right now.
Really?
In the other room. Yes,
we half an hour over there.
We are. We anticipated this though. We anticipated this. I feel like this is like something that I can actually do, but I want to be. I'm telling this out to the universe. I want to be on the new Muppet Show. I want to work on the new Muppet Show, and I would also love to be a Muppet.
Oh. Okay.
Oh.
All right. What's the curse?
Which one?
I'm Nikki Muppet.
Oh,
I don't want to be one of them. I want to be my own Muppet, and I want to interact.
Your own Muppet.
Yeah.
Well, they have. They're trying to kickstart a new. They're going to.
I haven't watched it yet.
Series.
They did. Their first episode is out. It's with Sabrina Carpenter, and I forgot it was happening. But that's my next move for today after the Celtics-Knicks game.
All right, I have a curse for you. You get to be a Muppet, but you're gonna feel that calloused hand up your Muppet butt.
Oh no! It makes me feel
no!
Wherever they are.
Oh no!
Although I think that it's a curse that all Muppets have to must face.
It's in the job description.
Yeah. Let's see. What could my wish be?
Oh wait, no! You've got to give me a curse, Xueting.
Oh yeah, Xueting. You have to give her a curse.
Oh, a curse. Okay, so do I need your wishes first, or
Oh, I gave you. I
Yeah,
want to be a
yeah,
Muppet. I want to be on the Muppets and be a Muppet character.
right. Okay. Mm, that you, but be, you're gonna end up in the world of the Muppet Show, and you won't ever come out again.
Oh, do I think
To
this
be
is
only a Muppet.
to be
Or
only a Muppet?
you might not.
To never be able to leave Muppet world and feel the callous to get fisted every day and to feel every bit of it. Alice with 3 fingers, if you will. Yeah. Huh. I guess
Might not be a bad.
I might. I mean,
If
I
you
might
like
love
being,
it.
you enjoy it. You enjoy it.
I might love it.
I'm gonna make a very small wish. I am gonna wish for champagne to be hydrating and to not cause hangovers. She can just drink champagne all day.
Okay. You can do that, except it'll always be flat.
Flat
Yeah.
champagne.
Flat champagne.
Hmm. Uh, hmm.
You just ruined champagne for me.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Is that what you're drinking at the
Yeah,
moment?
I'm
Is
drinking
the
mimosa.
champagne?
Burnt champagne. Okay, Diane Carroll.
Um, you wish it to be hydrating. You um, so my curse is that you will never be intoxicated on champagne.
Oh, the buzz is half the buzz is half the fun.
Yeah.
It's half the struggle too.
It takes all the yeah.
Then you have to drink a lot of it.
Yeah, it does.
Infinite amount of champagne.
It's like, why bother? You're stuck in flat and you don't feel anything.
Yeah, it's the most horrible champagne.
It's the Chateau Diane equivalent of champagne.
Oh.
I know nothing about alcohol. What's the chateau?
It's a drugstore wine.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. You can
Is
get
it
it at the
so
corner
bad?
stores. It's so bad. It's so bad that I
terrible.
won't even use it to cook with.
It's so bad. Yeah, you literally buy it at like where you pick up your prescriptions.
Or, buy your
Does it
bacon, egg, and cheese.
taste like medicine?
It tastes
Probably
like
not very, probably a bit like medicine.
It's like if
flat
there was an uncanny valley version of wine.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's like if
It's like the
somebody
horror
came from another
of
planet and like thought they knew what wine is based on the concept and then tried to make it, but all they gave you was like the first pancake version of it.
Yeah. It's
The
like
first
it's like
pancake version.
making wine from someone else's memory.
Oh, interesting.
Ah, that's hilarious. Oh man. Making wine from someone's memory who actually has never tasted it.
They've only read about it. Yeah,
They've
that's
only
what
read
Chateau
about it.
Diana tastes like.
Yeah.
Someone read about wine and then they decided to make it and they just went with the first draft.
But they do well because it's everywhere.
It's everywhere, so someone's buying it.
I mean, I don't drink a lot of wine because I have like a typical Asian enzyme, the Asian enzyme of not being able to drink any alcohol without wanting to go to sleep. But it's supposed to like have all these memories with it in it, like in the wine. Or is that something I've read? Like bring out all kinds of flavors.
Oh, right. In Vino's Verite, right? The expression is like when you're drunk, you tell the truth. Is essentially what they're saying. That the truth comes out when you've been drinking. Maybe.
Maybe, but like like it's the mm, yeah. I think it's something I've read rather than. I mean, like it brings up like the memories of what the place or the
Like where
people
you
that
had
made
it
it.
and
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
mhm.
like
I
sense
don't,
like a
I
sen
don't
like
know.
a sensory memory, like if you smell a perfume, you're like, "Oh,
Yeah,
it brings you
like
back."
Proust, like a Proustian kind of memory
Yeah.
or
I mean,
life
if I
and
smell
what I don't know.
Jägermeister or drink, which I don't think I'll ever do, it brings me back to the time that I was throwing up outside of a car. So not
Bad
cool.
times, bad times.
But speaking of perfume, pew, pew,
What we have coming up on Tuesday is our next edition of 30 Tuesdays. We will be talking about perfume, the diary of a murderer,
Story of a
story
murder.
of a murderer.
I always get it mixed up too.
Yeah, I'm always like, is it murder or murderer?
Murderer.
Story
Yeah.
of a murderer, perfume, story of a murderer.
Great cast. Alan Rickman's in it. Dustin Hoffman's in it, which I always forget until I start watching it. And yeah, I mean, it's a serial killer. It's the story of a serial killer who Tanya hasn't watched it yet, so I can't say more than that. But it is one of my favorite movies. I think it's one of my favorite movies, and I actually read it, and it's Patrick Suskind is the author, and I read it in German in the original language, and one of my favorite books too.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna watch it right after this.
Sounds really
Um,
good.
Don't text me.
yeah. No, I won't
Oh,
take.
and we have a new episode of A Night of the Seven Kingdoms coming out after we record it.
Yes, Night of the Seven Kingdoms. If you haven't started watching it, please do. It's really good.
If you hate Game of Thrones, you'll probably love this.
Oh,
Yeah, I
okay.
mean I've read several places that it's Game of Thrones for people who hated Game of Thrones. Um, and you do kind of need a glossary when you when you start that show because there's so many characters, and I'm talking about Game of Thrones, not A Night of the
Yeah.
Seven Kingdoms, but it's really, I want to say that's just a simple story, but it's definitely stripped down, and I
Hmm.
think it's the characters are super relatable. So if you haven't watched it, definitely give it a shot. Check it out. There are 4 episodes out right now, and if you have watched it but haven't heard what we had to say about it, all the streams are there. We can't, Tanya, we can't hear them at all. Should I lip sync for Tanya? Clyde, get off the counter.
Thank you for having me on your live stream. I had so much fun.
It
Oh,
was such a pleasure to have you. Thank you for joining us. And maybe in the future we could do Synopticon or something else. I look
absolutely.
forward
Yeah.
to reading everything you translate because I really, really enjoyed Sinophagia a lot.
Yeah, same.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm really glad you enjoyed it. I'm really glad you haven't been put off or thrown the
No,
book out the window.
Oh,
You
no.
want to read more.
Right up our
So
alley.
right
I'll
up
let
our
you.
alley.
And if you haven't read it, I mean, I'm thinking of The Death of Nala, but just like every one of these stories has its own layer of, oh my God, this is disturbing. I cannot recommend enough Victorian
Yeah, it
Psycho.
wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to pick stories
No, it
because
wasn't.
so many of them I can think of that I would love to talk about, but it would take us all day to get through the whole book.
Yeah.
So
We can't do
if you
that.
want to write about it or talk about it on something else, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Like
Yeah.
Absolutely.
on your
Yeah.
Don't
podcast.
threaten us with the call to read.
That's the wish granted and the curse. A good horror story, good horror anthology, but it stays with you and it will haunt
You
you
dream
for a
about
long time.
That's a good dream and a curse. Like, I wish that I could read every book in the world, like all the family and all the fantasy, that I have time to read it all. And my curse to myself would be like, okay, you can do that, but it's never going to be in a language you can understand.
Oh no.
Yeah.
That would be tragic. That would be tragic.
So tragic.
It would be gibberish.
Yeah.
Well, don't hang up, Xueting. We'll end the stream, but don't go anywhere. It was a pleasure. Thank you again for checking in with Wine on an Empty Stomach. I hope you enjoyed our stream
Follow us everywhere.
on all of the things.
Mm-hmm.
I've been Tanya,
I'm always Nikki.
and we'll see you Tuesday night.
Yeah.